If my man was playing this, I
Might be my arrogance, but ain't nobody stopping me. That's how I go when you pay for them shows and you study that pimp biology.
That's right. It is August 2nd, 2020. We're back on YouTube. Holy shit, poof, here I am. It's Dead on Dave. I told you when the time was right, when the stars aligned once again, we would return on YouTube. When it made the most sense for me. And it really does make the most sense for me and for all of you guys now. I mean, we've done a lot of good stuff on Twitch, but now everything else is gone. You can't go to Mixer. There's really no other homes. So why not finish what we started? We started making this channel really amazing. We might as well finish the job that we started so many years ago. So this isn't just a one-off. This isn't just another little run. This is a return. Full-fledged and true. This is where things start to get a lot more fun. Shows coming back, more content. I mean, we got Pokemon opening stuff. I got some other things. We built a new team. We got people who are ready to clang and bang the way that I've been ready to clang and bang for fucking years, and I love it. I got people who are pushing me. You're going to meet some of them today. They're going to be on the show today. But the question is what to come back to. You know, like I could have done an interview. We could have just done, could have brought in somebody big. I thought about interviewing Tommy, which I think I'm going to do very soon when he comes off vacation. I might ask Tommy to come on because every so often a great interview happens with Tommy, and it's been a while since I've had one with him. So that's something I really want to do, especially with all the stuff that's happening at the moment. I definitely like to have him on again. That's going to be going down very soon. So just get ready. Just get ready. Get ready for all of that. But what to come back to? I mean, the anticipation is going to kill you, right? It's like, should we do something drama-related? But honestly, drama's fucking boring now, man. The Karen Terry community, as I like to call them now. Jesus Christ. Can't deal. So, the other day, a fucking headline jumped out at me. And what's going on, everybody in the chat, by the way? I see you, Riveter. I see you, Nixie. I see you, Fake Ass Twat, Jade Rabbit, Will Heron. I see all you sexy people. How you doing? Good to see you. Make sure you host the stream. Let everybody know that we are live. I see this headline. It's just pop out of nowhere. It's 2020, but apparently the conversation for the greatest show in the history of television is over. See ya. Done. It's Game of Thrones, apparently, which upset a lot of people. I mean, here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you what I feel is the greatest show of the 21st century. I'm going to tell you what I think will end up being the greatest show of the 21st century, because I think there's a couple competitors that are a few seasons in now that you really can't count. So we're going to talk about that. I got a whole bunch of names to throw at you, some different criteria, all kinds of stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We don't get to talk about a lot of TV shows anymore because the world's so serious. All these serious things happen in the world. Well, we can't have any fun in the frivolous. Well, fuck, we can't. These articles are still being written, so Dave is still going to be ranting. Now, I got, to be fair here, this is like a Screen Rant thing. This was not, I think Vanity and Variety and shit like that, they also voted on this. But I want to make it really clear, I don't think this is a serious thing by any stretch. Like Game of Thrones, greatest television. We need to be up in arms. Rabble. No, nothing that serious. But it is an interesting conversation because I think personally, for me, if those final 4 episodes, and I only say 4 episodes, and maybe only 3 episodes of Game of Thrones doesn't happen, those final 3 to 4, we're not even having this conversation. Because Game of Thrones, before those 3 to 4 episodes, was the greatest show to ever live. But they found out something that Lost found out many, many years ago. Just because your show has been fucking damn near flawless and unpredictable, but guaranteeing to give all the answers and all that good stuff, just because you built it up perfectly doesn't mean you can't ruin it with a fucking ending so heinous and horrendous that it turns the biggest of fans into your biggest detractors. And that happened to me on 2 separate occasions. Lost did it to me. I was in Germany for Lost. I was in Germany for that, and I stayed up all night to watch it on JTV. I think it was still JTV back then. I was watching an illegal stream on JTV, I'm fairly certain. Or they may have actually broadcasted on German TV. I'm trying to remember exactly. I know I was doing JTV stuff back then, for wrestling mainly, but still. I stayed up. I was so excited. I loved the episodes leading up to the ending. The sideways stuff didn't bother me, other than the sideways stuff ending up to essentially, you'll still argue, it wasn't purgatory. It was essentially fucking purgatory. Essentially. And they always said they weren't going to go with the death shit. They weren't going to be dead all. They weren't going to. That's exactly, essentially what they did. Not exactly, because they all just met back up in heaven, and we don't really know exactly what happened. Shut up. Shut up. It was horrendously bad and full of unanswered questions. And we haven't even gotten a follow-up spin-off of anything to explain all the crazy shit that they put for us and just did never give us a payoff for. Now, Game of Thrones doesn't have that legacy. Game of Thrones is not in that same category.
You go to hell. You go to hell and you die.
That is a big old riveter little love there. Thank you so much. I believe that was a riveter at least. I couldn't see it because it's so small. No, Raging Max, excuse me. I'm sorry. I gave the wrong person any love. I'm so sorry. We'll go bald. What's up, Raging Max? The latest graduate of the Army School of Hard Knocks. What's up, soldier brother? Thank you so much. So proud of that kid, by the way. Thank you so much, Raging Max. I appreciate you. All right, the bald look is out now, baby. The bald look is out now. What's up, Leaping Lizard? I see Nixie as well. How you guys doing? All right, before we continue on down the rant and I start bringing in some people, we're going to bring in a whole bunch of folks. We have a new copious team that I'm gonna introduce you to. A couple of them tonight. They're gonna show up. They're gonna give you guys their opinions. You can call in and then give us yours as well. Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's right, Dave Austin. You stupid jackass. So I held my breath there for a moment when I got the donation that I thought was from Riveter, because we have a new feature on the channel now. Media share. Now, we do it on Twitch. I'm too scared and too pussy to do it here on YouTube. So here's how this is going to work. Before we get any farther, let's address this now. Right after this stream, if we get any donations that qualify for this, and people do the stream share and the videos are in the queue, because I will not watch them here because I don't fucking trust you. We're going to go right over to Twitch, right over there, and we're going to watch all the videos that you guys sent in, all the videos that you're trying to make me laugh with, disgust me with, whatever the case may be. All that good shit. So that's where we'll be right after this stream. You can actually put in YouTube videos to watch for streamers on Twitch. I wouldn't do it on YouTube. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is pretty damn cool. It is a cool thing. So if you decide that's what you want, I will go ahead and go right over to Twitch right after, and we'll do an after party, take more calls, questions, watch videos, have some laughs. It's going to be a great time. So hopefully you'll join us there for that. So as I was saying about Game of Thrones was different from Lost, and it's not that they built us up with so many questions that didn't go answered and it made us mad. No, instead, they wiped their ass with years of character development. They took the easiest out and said, oh, the signs were everywhere. Mad Queen could suck a fucking dick, okay? It's the weakest storyline. So what's the lesson? We're all products of our bloodline? We're slaves to our fucking ancestry? Fuck off, man. It was so... you laid the groundwork to fucking... to make her special, to go different than what the prophecies and everything may have said. There was no point to... I didn't want a happy ending necessarily. They didn't have to kill the Night King off as early as they did, and that was the beginning of the fucking end of the series, in my fucking opinion. But, Jesus H. Chrysler, you can't do that. And then give us King Bran on top of it? King Broke Dick? No, you can't. It's the most See, it's not just that it was bad. It's not just that it was lazy. It's not that it just made no sense. They did stuff that they said they wouldn't do, and it just felt like It was the lowest, easiest thing they could have put down, and it really pissed me off. It was so frustrating because the show was so good. And I think that's the most frustrating part, because the show was so good. To see it end like that, and there's a couple shows that fall into that category. So I'm going to hit a couple of mine here, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring in some callers, questions, comments, concerns, hopes, dreams, quips, quotes, likes, loves. And we're going to start with, I believe, Nixie, and we'll see who else comes in after that. I believe Heyoka Archetype is also going to join us. I think that's all of the team members that signed up and said, yo, I'm going to be there tonight. But if there are any more that didn't make the meetings and all that, feel free to come on in. We'll get you guys in too. And then, boom, we're going right to the callers, right to the questions, right to the concerns, the hopes, the dreams, the quips, the quotes, and all that good stuff. So I put, not exactly in such an extreme category as Game of Thrones or Lost, but Sopranos for me had more problems than just the ending. Now, I didn't hate the ending when I saw it, but over time it sat with me worse and worse because it was a cop-out. Tony Soprano doesn't deserve a cop-out. Either he's going to be at peace or he's going to fucking die. And with Tony Soprano, we needed to know the reasons why, the exact reason why. Of all the people that he killed, there were always reasons, and he always justified. We needed a justification to close that parallel, and we didn't get it. We got a cop-out. We got an excuse. And at worst, we got an anonymous dying hit. That's best case. That's best case. So, I don't know. It was a very, unsatisfying. Unsavory. There was nothing to bite into. Nothing. It was just frustratingly bad. So those shows, I do believe all three of them deserve to be in a conversation. Now, I don't think the endings for all of those shows are so bad that they take it out completely of any conversation. You want to put those shows as some of the most important in history. You want to put those shows... We are in the golden age of television, by the way, guys. I don't mean to say this, brush it offly about the 20th century. The shows that we have now, the quality, the writing, everything, it's just head and shoulders fucking above. Head and fucking shoulders above. Almost categorically. Not complete. I think comedy, you could still make the argument that the greatest sitcoms, aside from a couple that I'm going to talk about, are not only the greatest of the 20th century, but maybe the greatest of all time. There are still, but other than that, it's a little bit harder because there's so many more genres that are now, here. We have so many more. Every category you could possibly think of is on television now. So we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of those. But I think they deserve, my point is, I think those three deserve to be in the conversation. So here's some others that I not only think deserve to be in the conversation, they deserve some heavy consideration. And we're going to start with a animated category, because I do think there are three shows that either were created in the 21st century or primarily have existed in the 21st century in the animated world. And I'm going to go with South Park first and foremost. South Park has to be in this conversation. As great as the first 5 years were of South Park, and they were, I was for a long time a guy who was kind of like in the Family Guy conversation. Everything after season 5 was dog shit. And I kind of was that a little bit for South Park because I pulled away.
Hey, when you do this all the goddamn time, it's pretty easy to get sick of the shit.
So I pulled away for a while. But when I went back and caught up and watched every episode of South Park, and now I've done it 4 or 5 or 6, 7 times. I've re-fallen in love with this show, and what they've done in the last 10 years especially have been nothing short of phenomenal, establishing themselves as the it comedy show on animation aside from one other name. South Park has done a fantastic job of staying with times, at sometimes going ham when they need to, pulling back in others, go exploring different avenues. It's been a lot of fun to watch. So I think South Park not only deserves credit for one of the greatest animated shows or shows, period, in the 21st century, but South Park's going to go down on the pantheon of all-time greatest. I think greater than The Simpsons. They almost have the fucking longevity of The Simpsons. Not quite, because who the hell does? But Simpsons aren't on this list for the 21st century. They're not here. They're not even close to sniffing this list. I wouldn't even put most of the Treehouse of Horrors, my favorite of The Simpsons, in the best of the... You know what I mean? It's just like... The Simpsons have been so fucking atrociously bad. Same thing with Family Guy, that you cannot, you can't even begin to put them in the conversation. It's brutal. It's brutal. So South Park, I think, has beaten the shit out of shows like that, and they're incredible. So now I'm going to go to a show in the animated world that has not been around as long, but now they're in season 10, and they've been around for long enough, and they've been incredible, and that's Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers, you catch me on the right day. It's my favorite show. It's that good, and it's so consistently good. I can count on my one hand how many bad episodes I think they've had. Although, in the last couple of seasons, there's been a couple more each year that have just, it's been a little frustrating. But overall, Bob's Burgers is unfuckwithable. They're incredible. The characters are just there. And I'm going to also give an honorable mention to Archer here. I think Archer deserves some credit as well. I'm going to give an H. John Benjamin double slurper here, Leaping Lizard, South Park's ability to make a show in only 7 days helps them keep up with the latest news. Very true. Very true. But not only their ability to do it in 7 days, but their ability to do it the best possible look now. It's not like they did it in the old days where it was a lot easier. Some might argue the opposite. But, laziness as far as the animation goes or cutting corners was not something that they would shy away from. Now, it looks on par with most other animated shows. It looks good enough to really take it to that next level. So I agree with that. I think that's all the way around. Word drink Smallville. I love Smallville. Call in or give me that in a few minutes. We'll talk about Smallville because I think Smallville deserves a place in the conversation. I do. It's a great show. Ice Cream Birdie, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. So, of course, the other animated show, and the one that I will put above even South Park, is Rick and Morty. Yeah, I know. Now, Rick and Morty suffers from the one thing that I think a lot of other shows that we're going to talk about a little later in the list suffers from, and that's longevity. Yeah, they've been around for 4 seasons, and they've actually been around for like 7 years. I think they debuted in 2013. They've been around a long time. But there haven't been that many episodes. That's the problem. We're under 40 for the entire series, and that's a little bit of an issue. But what a 40 episodes. You know what I mean? It's like, what an amazing run they've had in the episodes of which they have had. It's almost perfect. It's almost been a perfect run up until this point. Very little pushback. Although the ratings dropped in Season 4, which I didn't understand because I got to be honest with you. Season 4 is by far my favorite season. It's not even like it's close for me. I love all the other. But I could point to an episode in every other season that I simply do not fucking like. And I can't do it with Season 4. I loved every episode, and most importantly, I loved every episode for different reasons. Now I'm in the bag for Rick and Morty. We know this. Where's my goddamn portal gun? Where's my goddamn portal gun? We know I be in the bag for Rick and Morty. We know this to be true. But I'm being fair here. I think the reason why you're not going to ultimately crown Rick and Morty is because of longevity. So, all right, let's go to the sitcoms real quick. I'm going to go through a couple sitcoms. And don't worry, guys, if I'm taking shows that you're going to talk about too, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Bring them up. Let's talk, rehash them. That's totally cool with me, okay? I have no problem doing that. Let's go to the sitcoms, which is probably the hardest category because I don't feel that there's that many. Now, I know some people are going to argue that like shows How I Met Your Mother, 2.5 Men, shows like Friends was almost entirely in the 20th century, but so we can't even come to that. Some people will put Big Bang in that, but I can't. There's only 2 shows. There's only Leaping Lizard. Supernatural didn't make my list, but to even talk about, but it was for a while. I'm with you. It's been on for way too long. They've done too much. But the 2 that I think are the ones that you got to talk about for the 21st century, and they both belong in the pantheon of all-time greatest shows, especially in sitcom. The Office, which I do feel suffers. The Office is the lesser of my two picks here because I feel like they have suffered a couple of bad choices and having to lose one of your big cast members the way that they did and still try to go on. It wasn't the same as the other show that we're going to talk about where they lost a couple of really main cast members late, but they were able to keep going. Parks and Rec, I feel, really had a hard time at the end with Andy as the boss because it was just so awful. He was terrible. He was he became the worst character on the show. He became one of the worst characters in the show history. And I liked Andy. I really did, but he was just so fucking annoying. Oh, Andrew Bernard. But they gave him such a good... See, here's the thing about The Office that redeems it is the finale. The Office has one of the greatest finales in the history of television. It's so fucking good. It bringing back Steve Carell, it was so good. But you know how hard it is to try and replace Steve Carell? Keep this in mind about Steve Carell's departure. When they replaced him as the manager of Dunder Mifflin, it was a difficult thing so much that they brought in everybody they possibly could to replace. They brought in James Spader, who ended up becoming a boss for a while. I think Will Ferrell had a meeting. I think Steve Carell might have been brought in as well. But they made a little joke. No, they didn't bring in. That was from The Office. Never mind. Excuse me. Will Ferrell. But the best one was we got to see Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais. They brought him because he created the original in England, which I'm not going to put on the list because it was only 2 seasons. It was just too short. It was too short, and there is a little bit of issues with a few of those episodes that I don't think were all that good. But still, the basis was set, and we have to thank England for giving us that incredible show because, God, was it great. I love The Office, and the ending really was so good. But the one that I'm going to put above it and the one that I'm going to kind of tout as the greatest sitcom and maybe the greatest show of the 21st century is Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is so fucking good. And it doesn't stop. Losing Rashida Jones and Beautiful McBeautiful-Face, Rob Lowe, it's a hard thing to do, man. But they weren't Leslie Knope. They weren't Ron Swanson. And they lost Andy Dwyer for a while, which was difficult because, losing Star-Lord, he was such an important part of it. But that was the thing about Parks and Rec, maybe even more so than The Office. There wasn't creeds in The Office. Maybe there was for a little while. With a few of the Jerry was probably a Creed-like character. Even April, I'd say early on, was kind of a side middling character. But they all ended up becoming so important, and they all ended up becoming such an important part of the team and Leslie's world, and the way that they were able to weave that story, and most importantly, end that story. It's not even a close conversation anymore for me. And then if you want to get real catty, let's go ahead and just throw in the icing on the cake with their comeback special for coronavirus. Perfection! It was so good. It really was amazing. So, let's see what the chat's saying here. Guten Prank. Yes, Mose. Guten Prank. Night Court was great a little bit earlier. Same thing with Family Matters. Maybe I love Night Court, by the way. Leap and Liz, you shouldn't be shocked by that. Wait. All right. James Spader on The Office was amazing. Dude, I love seeing Patrice on the Office and his bit partner. I think the only sitcom I really watched was Big Bang. Yeah, I liked Big Bang for a while. But I had some issues with it. I stopped watching after season 8. Audrey Plaza is great. Says, hey, okay, Archetype. I agree with that. So those are some of the shows there. I'm going to let other people talk about Breaking Bad. And I love Breaking Bad, but I'm gonna kind of gloss over. Breaking Bad deserves to be on this list. Breaking Bad is one of the greatest television shows of all time. And it definitely deserves to be in the conversation. And maybe the most worthy of everybody to take on the Game of Thrones competition if we're going to discount the finale for Game of Thrones. But I do feel like Breaking Bad, for me, and this is why I'm not going to defend Breaking Bad, because I really didn't like the last couple of seasons. I liked the finale, but I didn't really like the last couple of seasons. I felt everything they were doing with Jesse, and it just... I also didn't like the arc just with Walter in general. The way that they finished his story, the way that they brought everything, I didn't like it. He was an anti-hero. You could still feel bad for him. And then all of a sudden, he's the most evil fucking man. And all the reasons didn't matter anymore. And yeah, I'm glad in the finale that he finally admitted that it was about him. I'm glad that happened. But Jesus Christ, I struggled with what we're supposed to feel about Walter in the last 2 seasons, and I understand that's the point, but it's not what I wanted, and I'm being a little bit of a bitch about it, but that's my fucking prerogative. Eat my butthole. But Breaking Bad definitely deserves to be on there. It's on so many lists, but there's gonna be a lot of these that are gonna. Sopranos is on a lot of lists as well, So, all right. Deserves mentioning, especially in the sitcom category, that it's currently still going on. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, I'm not going to make the case for it because I don't watch it. I've never watched it. But I do know how topical, and I know how many of you edgelords will push this to be one of the greatest shows ever and all that, and that's totally fine. So I believe it also belongs in the conversation. Shows that I think that are going to end up in the conversation are kind of fun to talk about. American Gods and Westworld. Those are the two to kind of watch out for. Those are the two that I think if they have another 3 years, they could be real fucking special. They can get 3 to 5 more years out of those two. They're going to definitely be knocking on the door of the conversation. Let me in. We must speak, because they're both amazing. I think Stranger Things is on that list as well, Fake. I like Stranger Things in that conversation, but I think it's a little bit above those two. It's done enough in the 3 seasons that it had, so far. It's done enough to already be in the convo, to already be a part of it all. For me, at least. I really love what they've done. Another show that I feel is definitely... Well, Seinfeld wasn't in the 2000s. Or at least not much of it was, if any. Another show that I feel is definitely going to be hurting from the last season or two is Dexter. I think it deserves to be in the conversation. Walking Dead was an interesting one for me when I was deciding where I wanted to put it. I'm going to leave it again for other people to maybe touch on. But Walking Dead, for a while, was in the conversation. I'm not exactly sure. But we all know it went wrong. Horribly, horribly wrong. We may not be exactly sure where it went wrong, but it definitely, some people will argue on where. Some will say it went wrong very, very early. Some very, very late. We already talked about Lost. Ice Cream Birdie, don't worry about that one. It was the ending. The ending, for me, it really hurt it. So the ending, it's one of the worst endings in the history of television for me. And it's not as bad as Game of Thrones because of the fact that Game of Thrones just made us suffer for 4 goddamn seasons. Or 4 episodes, rather. They made us suffer for 4 episodes until they inevitably gave us the worst possible ending and brand the broke ass as king. So I can never forgive it. A couple others I'm going to gloss over. Get ready in the calls. If you're not already waiting to call in the Discord, we're going to the calls right after I'm done with these last couple of mentions. I want to mention 24. I think 24 deserves to be in the conversation. I understand how campy and hokey and crazy and how bad it could be at times. 24 was so fucking big. It was so big, and everybody talked about it. It deserves to at least have a quick mention, in my opinion. I got a lot of people throwing some stuff in the chat here. I love it. American Gods is fantastic, but also does a lot of exposition, so I think the truth sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. At times, I think that you could be on that. But the first 2 seasons, I don't think they've really had any. They haven't struggled, for me at least. I agree. I think Stranger Things will go even further depending on season 4. Now, that's supposed to be the last season. Now, I don't know if it will be. I'm sure it's going to maintain its popularity. It's a great show. It's so good. But I handicap it a little bit because it relies so heavily on things that have already happened. It relies so heavily on pop culture references and pop culture icons and all of these things. I'm not saying that should be an automatic hindrance, but it's enough to where right now I need that 4th season. I need that 4th season. And yes, Stranger Things is considered a TV show. I don't think Netflix... Netflix is still TV to me. It's just another channel. Yeah, it's on the internet, but it's on another channel. And to me, this is the way I look at it. Especially now that I can get Netflix through my Xfinity. All right. I want to throw a little bit of love to two shows. In the sitcom world, there's one Simpsons-like show that's just been going on forever. Curb Your Enthusiasm. The show that won't fucking die. You want to talk about Seinfeld? Talk about Larry David's fucking immortal classic that does not seem to ever want to fucking die. Curb Your Enthusiasm. It at least deserves a little bit of a nod for how long, for just how much. Doctor Who. See, I know that it got the revamping, but Doctor Who's been around for forever. I don't. It's hard. So I guess if you want to take the 20 years of Doctor Who and say this deserves to be in the best, but it's not going to get there just by its name. And I think a lot of people will say the last 20 years may have not been the greatest 20 years of Doctor Who. So it just depends on who you talk to on that one. And I'm not a big enough fan to make that stance. So I'm just not going to do it. But here's one show that I think deserves some good conversation into it, and that's Orphan Black. If you haven't seen Orphan Black, that's a show that truly deserves your attention. It's going to suffer from its last season, and it's going to suffer from the relative shortness of it. But it was a great show. It was just really stunning to watch. And I would watch it again. It's one of those shows that I know I could watch again, and I really enjoyed. Here's the one that I'm going to make the biggest case for outside of Parks and Rec, outside of South Park or Rick and Morty, and outside of Game of Thrones, since it was the topic of the conversation. But I think we've already gone ahead and put the nail in the coffin of Game of Thrones, or at least I have. And I know I'm going to probably be the only one with this one. And I know that there are a lot of people that hate many seasons, if not half the seasons of the show that I'm going to talk about, more people fucking hate. I disagree with most of the fucking statements that they make about the most hated seasons of this show happen to be my favorite. So I'm so far askew from what so many people say about it. I understand there's going to be skepticism in what I'm about to say. But I will I'll fight you as long as you want on American Horror Story. Do you know how long it's been since we've had a true competitor in the fucking in the horror, in the sci-fi, in that really macabre world? It's Twilight Zone. It's been that fucking long since we've had a real supernatural show. And I'm going to discount Supernatural because of how hokey and fucking... The Supernatural's not a good show. It's an entertaining show. It's a long-running show. But it's Vampire Diaries. You know, it's chick lit. You know what I mean? I don't feel that way about American Horror Story. And I'm not the biggest Ryan whatever fucking fan in the world either, because he always has to make a goddamn statement with his damn shows, and he did Glee as well. But there was the concept of American Horror Story, using the same actors, using the same people, playing different roles, telling different things, and then inevitably tying them in different ways. It's been so much fun to watch. It's been great TV. It pushes the lines. It pushes people's buttons. Sometimes it goes too much. Sometimes it's kind of stupid. But man, it's fun. It's unapologetic. It goes hard, and I really just love that show so much. And it can be actually scary at times, which I appreciate. And me being a horror guy in my heart, I can't help but go to American Horror Story, and I'll go to the mat for it. I really will. I'll go to the goddamn mat for it because I love it that much. And, you know, Glee deserves at least a little bit of conversation, but ultimately smashed on because after the first season, really, it got pretty bad. Second season was tolerable. Then after that, you just wanted to bash everybody in the fucking face until they died. Until they died horrible ways. All right, so that's it. That's what I got. That's my whole piece on it. But I also want to make this point too. I'm not sure that we've had enough time in a bottle. We're only 20 years into this century. Now, of course, we always want to crown something. You want to crown their ass? Crown their ass. But Game of Thrones is who we thought they were. Didn't Sheldon get the Oscar for best side actor or whatever for several years in a row? Fucking ridiculous. I love Big Bang. Love them. But the other shows that I'd love to put in that are just some of my favorites, shows like Dollhouse, shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, just for pure entertainment, even though they really they were out in the early aughts. But Angel was very good, and that was primarily a 2000 show. There's a lot of them, man. I love Buffy, Leaping Lizzie. I love Buffy, but again, it's not really a good show. You know what I mean? It's not really a good show. Is it a good show? It's an entertaining show. All right, let's go to the calls. I want to hear from you guys, and then we're going to bust our asses over to Discord. And remember, if we get any donations of $5 above and you want to take part with the media share option that's now available, feel free to join us on the after party. If we get any of those, I won't be playing the video on air. Not on YouTube, because fuck me in the beard. Not a good idea. However, we will do it over on Twitch right after. We're going to do an after party. If we get any videos that we got to throw out there, that's exactly what we're going to do on Twitch right after this. Join us for the after party. You better go and bring Bacardi. Pyoxis, American Horror Story. I just talked about American Horror Story. Ice Cream Birdies, CSI Miami, New York. Good shows. I feel like you're just Googling shows at this point. What's your favorite crime show? It's a show that probably deserves a little bit, a couple of different shows actually in the crime world. That's hard, a little bit harder. Because I was gonna say the detective show, the True Detective or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the biggest crime dude in the world. I'd have to look into it. Buffy's only a few shy. I own the entire thing on DVD. So that's great. It is. I love it. My Name is Earl. Oh, I loved My Name is Earl. That was a great show. All right, let's start with Nixie because she's cool, and if you see her, you know you drool. What's up, Nixie? How you doing?
I'm dying.
Oh, well, that's not good.
I'm good. I'm alive. I'm live.
Yes, you're alive, and you're here with Dead on Dave. How you doing?
Not too bad till a second ago. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm just doing a show, Just talking about Game of Thrones is pissing me off.
True.
Yeah. So what's up? What do you got for us? Now, if you don't know who Nixie is, Nixie's become a good friend of mine over the past few months. She's an incredible streamer herself. She's a very talented artist. She does all kinds of photography and wonderful things. She's become one of my favorite people, man. And I like to affectionately call her Girl Dave. And if you'll give me just a moment, I can pretty much show you what she looks like. By just adding one accoutrement.
Oh,
Some of you will remember this recklessness from our Twitter fiasco that we had. Oh, thank you so much, Tree 6 Mafia, for the sub. Look at how all this hair in my fucking face. So it's two Nixies, one of a kind. All right, Nixie, what do you got for us?
fucking push to talk. Okay.
Well, turn off push to talk. Why do you still have it on?
Because there's noises in my house.
Oh, fair enough.
Stuff. Or maybe my head. I'm not sure. Right. Anyway, I actually agree with you about Game of Thrones.
Oh, my God.
Because I was actually coming on. I thought I was going to have a fight with you about this. I was like, right, I got to stand my ground. I'm going to have to fight him for this. But no, Game of Thrones to me, like, I've never felt that much hype for a TV show as you do when you watch Thrones.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. It was an event. It was like watching the Super Bowl every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
I just saw that you got the wig on.
I'm not going to keep it on long since I didn't get paid to put it on because it really does suck. It's so hot.
Like looking in a mirror.
It really is like looking at. I got to get my glasses on. If I can find my older glasses, the BCGs. Oh God.
But anywho, someone, Ice Cream Birdie, I think said it as well. But I would throw House in there.
House
looking at
tricky.
There's a few I would take off.
House is so tricky because House is so reciprocal. You know, it's very, very, very the same show every week. And I don't mean to say that it's super because I loved House. I've watched every episode. It became an obsession, but it was the same show every week. It really was. They added a couple nuances in, but really, if they weren't changing out a character, because you can make the same argument for Bones, because I feel they're kind of the same show. And I feel Bones did it better, if I got to be honest.
Those pesky, shows where they solve a crime because some's died. I mean, if nobody died the next episode, it'd be pretty fucking freaky on its own, wouldn't it?
There's my favorite crime show, by the way. It's Bones. I lost it earlier. It wasn't in my head, but now because Bones is House with violence. So that's really all it is. It's just House. They're not searching for diseases. They're searching for murders. But it's the same show, same methodology.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the social side of House, though, with all the advertisement, it went all around the world.
Yeah.
That was one thing about it. Like, it literally it was like the first show to go viral in that sense. You guys get good big shows out there, but we don't find out about them over here until like a little while later.
That's the same thing with you guys. I mean, you guys, shit. I'm going to say a show that's fantastic that half this chat isn't even going to know what the fuck I'm talking about. You will. Misfits. Great fucking show.
Yes.
See, I lived in Germany for a long time, so I got a lot of your shows. So, but it's the same way. You got to go searching.
Yeah, and it's like with Big Bang Theory, I think like the problem with shows like that is that there are so many of them still coming out now as well. It's kind of they are all just friend clones now.
Yeah. Well, I mean that because when you get into situational comedies which revolve around a group of friends did it it's not that Friends was overly, I liked Friends. I grew up on Friends. I loved Friends. But it's not like Friends is some brilliant fucking show. They just did everything. They were the Simpsons. They just, every situation that you could possibly live in, if you live in any type of city environment, it was that, but magnified. Big Bang did it. They tried to be sneakier with it by making it a nerd show and making it about us. But then it just, after about season 4, season 5, it became all about relationships, just like every other fucking show. A marriage, not just friendships. I'm talking about like marriage relationships, which Friends also inevitably broke down into. So it always goes the same way. Sitcoms are tricky. Hey, hold on 1 second. We got a
Love you, bro. Wish I could do more. Glad to see you coming back around YouTube.
Hey, thanks so much, C-Man, with a big $25 to the channel. Thank you so much. Yeah, baby, we are back in here. We're in here like swimwear. We're going to be here every day, and it's not just, almost every day. We'll see when we have shows to do. But we got a news team again. Hopefully we'll be having shows every day if these guys can go ahead and post some stories, buttholes. But that's the plan, man. We'll be here every day. We're going to be on Twitch. We're going to be doing it all big. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And at the end of the show, I'm going to do a big rip for your ass. Big question, though. Did you use the media share? If you used the media share with that $25, you could have got a video shown to me. And at the end of this show, we're going to pop over to Twitch and watch any of those videos that we get through media share because I'm not brave enough to watch them here. So that's what we'll do after show gaming, talking, and, of course, watching those videos. Thank you so much, C-Man. You're a fucking sweetheart. Let me get a wig for you. Nixie, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Hi. Yeah, Pimp Pete's is The In-Betweeners. Have you watched The In-Betweeners?
I watched a little bit of The In-Betweeners, but not much. I know of The In-Betweeners.
That is classic British TV. So if we start having to add in sitcom shows like that, I mean, you've never heard of The In-Betweeners, but me and Pete have watched it, and we're like, dude, how have you not watched The In-Betweeners?
Well, yeah, because it's all regional stuff, so that's why you're gonna have different things. But the shows I think we're talking about now, they don't suffer from that. You guys got Game of Thrones. You guys, almost everything that we're talking about, you guys got. I was able to watch them when I was in Europe.
I'm quite interested to see that you've got the Great British Bake Off at 6, and randomly at 8 we've got Gavin and Stacey. Like, what?
See,
who picked this list?
It was a really bad list. Like, Game of Thrones is the only real viable one they had on it. They didn't have many other ones that were. Yes, we are including cartoons. I made my case for the cartoons. I gave you 3 that are on the list, I feel. See, man, this chick's voice makes me thirsty.
You told us in the Discord, don't be adding any cartoons, guys.
Well, for you guys, but I'm not you. I'm going to add them in for but I didn't, but if you notice, I didn't throw them in there as the actual contenders. I just talked about them as such. And because the 3 that I mentioned are probably going to be the exact same 3 y'all were going to mention, I didn't want you guys fucking going these super unheard of animated shows that you were throwing around in the chat. I wasn't talking about Rick and Morty, South Park, or Bob's Burgers, and Archer and stuff. Those are undisputed. But some of the shit you guys wanted to bring in, like fucking, what was it, Beast
Cow and
Machine
chicken.
Shit. That was
Cow and chicken.
Yeah, shut up. Made me crazy. I was like, you guys are out of my mind. BoJack. I have not gotten into BoJack Horseman.
No, neither. I can't. I didn't get it.
Yeah. See, Hayoka's right. It will be disregarded from you, not from me. My opinion matters, goddammit. All right. What else we got, Nixie?
What would your top 10 be in this list?
Well, I basically gave them, and now I deleted the list that I had, so I can't repeat them. But essentially, those were about 10 to 12 shows that I talked about earlier. Those are pretty much the list for me. Anything outside of that, I'm not really going to get too much into.
In the top 6, say, no, discard 6. The top 5, you've got all of those shows, I would say, are big contenders and worthy of probably at least the top 5, but perhaps in a different order. So you've got Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Doctor Who, Sherlock, Breaking Bad, and then, we're going to go up to 5. Fuck the Great British Bake Off. Jesus.
My problem, Sherlock, I do not understand. I'm like, I can't even fathom what the fuck anyone was thinking when they put, Sherlock was fine, but no, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
I just don't think it's worthy of being added into the category because there's only like 3 episodes per season, if that.
I just don't think it by any metric, it deserves to be on this list at all. But that's me. It's not a show for me. Stranger Things we talked about. I think it suffers from the same thing. There's not a lot of episodes. It's very, very, very nostalgia based. If it wasn't so great because of things that already happened. You know what I mean? Like, we are loving this show because of all the fucking references to the 80s. And it's so much, and there's hardly anything you can look at that's just independently on its own amazing, that's original. Most of it are concepts or things that we saw in other movies, even great musical moments. They're from legendary songs in our nerd mythos, like Neverending Story from the last season. That's what makes it so good, and I'm not trying to penalize it for that, but I think it's kind of hard not to when we're talking about greatest, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. But then, I mean, you look with Stranger Things being at number 2. Again, it's all and it's all throwbacks. A lot of the reason we love that show is because it's got so much pop culture from the 80s in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I just said about it.
I know. So I'm just saying, like, it's yeah.
You don't want to penalize it for that because it's like it's almost irrefutably great. But when you look at it for the reasons why it's great, it takes away from it, I think, slightly. And I'm going to agree with Hayoka Archetype. The only acceptable reality TV show in this discussion might be Kenny versus Penny. I said that is such a great show. But I think American Idol and things like that would win. And unfortunately, Survivor probably wins, you know, especially when you put it in its longevity. But I think you give it another 5-10 years if it sticks on. I think The Masked Singer might beat all that ass because I love The Masked Singer. I can't get enough of The Masked Singer. They had a bad season this year, too, and I still loved it. Still loved it. All right, you ready to take some calls, Nixie?
Go for it.
Let's bring it. We're going to start with Hayoka Archetype, another Mush Puff member. How you doing, Mr. Hayoka? What's going on, and what do you want to talk about?
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
I'm alive, man. How are you?
I'm doing okay, man. I was just muting the stream inside Discord. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So yeah, actually, obviously, Game of Thrones has all those problems, and like I didn't feel as though they justified the change in Daenerys sufficiently.
Well, yeah,
Like, it just
I
seemed
think because
just came out of
the
nowhere.
only justification is, well, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was the prophecy. It literally was everything that we saw from the prophecy from season 2. It was almost everything. You know, we didn't get to see so that's what I felt was the cop out. I really hated that. We're whatever happens in our bloodline, we're the exact same. Fuck off, you know. So all the character development, all the good, everything that she did, it was all just for nothing. And same thing with John for the most part. It just really bothered me.
Oh yeah, John was such a huge letdown, man. Such a huge letdown.
Big time.
I mean, and the whole Night King thing. It was just laughable, man. You build up this villain, and then it's just like, well, man, there wasn't like, they build it up, and then there was no payoff. It's just like, I mean, I was okay with her killing him. Like, I thought that was great that she was. I just would have liked to have seen a conflict that was like an episode or two longer.
I think my problem, the reason why I gave the Night King stuff a pass at the time, and why I still kind of do now, is just because you were never going to get enough. Either the Night King was going to win and sit on the fucking throne, or it was never going to be enough. It was just going to be about how many died in the process. So I think the idea, if it could have been extended, I think if this would have been a 10, 12 episode season, which it easily could have been, you could still kill off the Night King in 3 or 4 episodes, because the conflict really has always been between the houses, and it should end between the houses. The problem is they just ended it in the worst possible fucking way. It feels like they had to throw everything into the last episode because they waited so long. It was a mess. It was a mess.
I know. I agree with you. It was a little bit of a hot mess.
Absolute mess.
You know, I did not think that it was going to be as hard to kind of narrow down a great TV show. But like I was trying to nuance between like a good 30 different TV shows in the 21st century.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's
living in the
not
golden age
too
of
bad
television.
TV.
We're living in the greatest we've ever had. We are living in a plethora, a cornucopia, a copious amounts of amazing television. Better written, better shown, better graphics, better visuals, better way to watch it. It's on demand. It's just like we are living in the time to watch TV.
Well, and I think the online platforms are what's kind of driving that creativity.
Yeah, sure. Because now you don't have to be in the industry to make it. You don't have to suck a fucking Weinstein dick to make it. You know, you don't have to go through the Kevin Smith story either. You know, you don't have to sell all your shit to finance enough to get to finance a small little indie movie and hope that it works. You know, you don't have to do that. Now, you have all that power on your phone. You know, and you can make a movie on your phone, and you can get somebody to edit it, and it looks great. This is the world that we live in now. Creativity is plentiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, oh gosh, I can't think of her name right now, but that pretend singer, Colleen, I can't think of her name, but she even got a show on Netflix, and, you know, she transitioned that character, that persona that she played on YouTube, and, you know, I mean, she got a season out of it, and it wasn't bad.
Oh, we've had a lot of YouTubers by this point who have gone to TV. Yeah. I mean, hell, not even halfway TV like Netflix, like some people will say. I mean, we've had quite a few YouTubers that have gone to MTV at this point. So and we're gonna have a lot more too, man. That train's just starting.
Well, you saw
Miranda sings.
Yeah,
Pete.
Miranda sings. So I can't. Yeah.
Thanks.
Miranda sings.
Did you see Ninja's in Hollywood now?
Yeah, I saw Ninja's about to go fail in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is what I said on Twitter, and I'll pretty much back it up here. He is
fake ass twat.
Undeniably, he is a great gamer. But that's where it ends. He's not a good entertainer. He's not a funny guy. He's not an interesting guy. He's a fucking annoying twat who says the most stupid fucking shit. But he drinks his own Kool-Aid. He thinks he's so fucking important. He talks about himself like he's Michael Jordan. Nah, bitch, you ain't that important. And he's been shown this twice. He got laughed out of the fucking world at New Year's Eve when nobody knew who the fuck he was. And then even worse, when he was eliminated on Masked Singer, the judges had to act like they knew who. Nobody knows who the fuck Ninja is. For as famous as he is, nobody fucking cares. And I can't wait till he finds this out.
Well, I think that that journey in and of itself may be entertaining.
Oh, sure.
Watching him
Train
fall flat on
wrecks
his
are.
face.
Yeah. When someone gets murdered, I mean, hell, the snuff film. Let's do it. Yeah.
That's true.
What else you got there, Yoko?
Well, I had quite a few. Aubrey Plaza is amazing. Parks and Rec is a great show, but I assumed that I took out. Even on the list of 30, I actually already removed all the obvious ones, like Breaking Bad.
You're not giving me 30.
No. I kind of narrowed it down to like 3 or 5, right? I'm just saying it was really tricky, man. Really tricky.
Yeah,
You sound like you're flicking pages and pages and pages of notes. How prepared were you for this?
Hey, I made it known that I'm coming prepared to this discussion today.
I literally heard a clipboard with paper going.
Yeah, right. It's like he's got a stenographer in the background making sure he's got everything written down and stuff. Like, this will all be recorded. Don't worry.
Just read from the monitor. What the monitor says is good.
No.
She's like my inner
I just
voice,
wanted
man.
to,
I love having Nixie here. The things that I want to try to get in, I can't say. She says for me. It's phenomenal. Go ahead, Ayoka.
I think Nixie's great, man.
She's my favorite.
I try and lurk her stream every once in a while, and she really cracks me up.
She's me with great, wonderful boobies. She's bloobies. What the fuck? How can you not love her? She's amazing.
So I think one of the greatest shows that was on TV in the 21st century, it's like the greatest show to never be finished. It's called Jericho.
Pimp. Oh, pimp. I'm going to say something to you that you're going to understand. I say peanuts to them. You get it? Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, man. Jericho was so next level TV. Like, it actually kind of created a template for things that are being done now, where there's hidden messages in like the intros of the show. Jericho used to start off with Morse code in every show. Yep. And the Morse code, you realize after like 2 or 3 shows, it was always different, and it gave you a hint on what the show was going to be about. It was so amazing. So it had
90s legend from the Scream world, Skeet Ulrich as the lead. What a great show. What a great show.
What a great name.
What a great name.
I love Skeet Ulrich. So Skeet Ulrich, I think, is doing he's like FP Jones in Riverdale right now.
Is he really? He's in Riverdale?
Currently. Yeah, he's in Riverdale.
Wow.
And I remember first seeing him. He played Kevin Mitnick on Operation Takedown. I think it was called Takedown. Jeez. And he was kind of he was really well suited for that role. But I thought he was great as the lead in that show. His dad, of course, the legendary Gerald McCraney, who was Raymond Tusk in House of Cards.
That show was filled with people, man. Like the actors were perfectly chosen. Like, it was just so well done on every level.
Absolutely. Lenny James, man, from The Walking Dead, Morgan, right? He was like this triple agent CIA guy.
He's such a good actor.
Man.
From one of Nixie and my favorite movies, Snatch. British actor.
Yes.
I
bloody love that film.
Yep.
Oh yeah, man. I love how Brad Pitt. Don't speaking.
Go to Snatch. Don't go to stay on target.
No, I know. Stay focused. Stay focused.
Come on, get your Ritalin in you. Finish what you're saying. Because I'm going to call you out for not understanding when I said peanuts.
Maybe. But that show was just it was just like a metaphor for the challenges of freedom and democracy, like on a small scale. It happened in Kansas, and I don't know. I think it was the greatest show that was never finished.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. It is the greatest show that was never finished. No ending. It only had 2 seasons. It was very, very short. But it had some memorable moments. One of them being the Peanuts line, which of course is an homage to from a wartime situation. I'm too stoned to fucking remember exactly. Someone was ordered to fucking surrender, and allegedly, even though some historians say it never happened, he wrote back and responded, "Peanuts, nuts to you." So They used that line in the show, and as a result of it being canceled, CBS, I believe, who was the distributor of the show, were flooded with hundreds and thousands of packages of peanuts by fans in protest of the show being canceled. They tried to get it back for almost 3 years, never were able to.
Yeah, absolutely. There was thousands and thousands of pounds of peanuts sent to them or something like that. I think.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
David Letterman was talking about it. David Letterman, I'm the huge David Letterman guy. And while all this was going on, David Letterman was talking about at least I have something to snack on every day. Hee hee. I love Dave. All right, what else you got there? Finish up.
Well, you know what? I think that show got killed by the writer's strike too, because it was 2006 to 2008.
It's a high concept.
So
it got killed by ratings. It's just the reality is people stop watching.
Well, there's that too.
If you don't watch, it's just gonna go the way of the dodo. It was too high concept. I think it was so high concept. It really was. It was always treachery. I think another one, the one that ripped off my show, my book, Revolution, kind of falls in that same type of world where it could have been really, really great, and then it's just too high concept and it got ahead of itself.
That's the one with no electricity.
Yeah, the nanobot shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that show too, man. That's another show that didn't get finished.
Stole my fucking world from my book, man.
Yeah.
Stole my J.J. Abrams stole that world from my book. The Chronicles.
Which is still available to buy on Amazon.
That's right, it is, Nix. He's still available to this day on Amazon.com. The Chronicles of L.J. Stevens.
My next one is Fringe. And I think Fringe was everything the X-Files should have been, but was too afraid to be.
Interesting. Friend, that's an interesting choice. I don't think not a lot of people will be on that choice, but interesting choice.
No, man, I really love Fringe. I died inside when I was like, that's it? Damn it, I gotta wait. I was just it was, I love that show. And Anna Torv as Olivia Dunn, she's a grittier version of Cate Blanchett. And John Noble is also great. He does all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add on Fringe. What's your next one? Last one. I want to wrap this up. We've been live for an hour.
Yeah, sure. Shameless. Just Shameless is just. It feels
like a pretentious list. I'm not gonna lie.
No, man. What do you mean?
You're Shameless the same as our Shameless here in the UK.
It's that much and more.
Okay.
Oh,
so
man,
you took it and made it better, did you?
He'll get a stabbing by some people for saying that shit. There's some British people who are coming to find your ass right now. I don't know about what you just said.
It just doesn't take things socially as far as the things that Frank does. How about Gay Jesus? Come on now. I mean, that is amazing.
I guess I need something besides shock humor. It's the same reason why I'm not fighting for It's Always Sunny. It's the same reason.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily about shock. I think it's the same thing. It's it's the opposite side of where you have society building up. You have society being torn down through its own recklessness almost. And it's the same metaphor for free and democratic society when you have these people who are just constantly trying to look for opportunities. And I don't know. I think it's just great. It's
it's highlighted to watch shows with. I would want to bash my fucking head in. I got a feeling if I watch too many episodes of something with you, I'm like, nah, I got a fucking tack hammer.
I don't talk during TV, man. I just watch. I'm a consumer.
You're something, all right. All right, let me get Ice Cream Birdie in here so I can end this train wreck.
Sure, man.
Thanks a lot, brother. Good shit. Man, he had notes upon notes upon. I let him talk a lot, right? I didn't cut him short, did I?
No, I heard a lot of paper flicking.
Yeah, that could have went a long time. I could have went a really long time. Let's bring in Ice Cream Birdie for hopefully a quick phone call to end out this fucking show. What's going on, Ice Cream Birdie? I'm really surprised that you're here. I got to be honest, because you don't seem to care about this type of stuff most of the time when I talk about it on Twitch.
No, I don't have much to relate to many of the shows since I haven't watched them. But I was.
Wait, 1 second. I'm sorry. Hold on. We're gonna ban this guy in the chat, but I gotta say, this guy has been trolling me I think it's the same person it's always been. And this guy, I gotta say, I respect him, and here's why. He used to N-bomb me, and one time I asked him really, really nice. I was like, you know what, you can spam me. Do we really gotta do the? And ever since then, when he does do the spamming, he does stuff like penis. I mean, you gotta love.
That's so considerate,
right? You gotta kind of love a considerate troll. And especially one who's been doing this to me for like 5 years, I kind of respect it.
Mr. Popular.
Yeah, I know.
I think they may be sexually attracted to you, Dave.
Well, who isn't though? I mean, get in line.
Isn't that why we're all here?
Right. Speaking of which, let me get that baldness back out. All right, Ice Cream Birdie. I'm sorry I cut you off. What do you got?
Criminal Minds.
I like it. Okay, I watched a little bit of it. I wasn't religious.
I mean, again, it's repeatable. I mean. Yeah. Just only a new way to kill someone that many times, right?
Right. Yeah. What do they call procedural dramas?
Yeah, like as Nixie also said, House MD, but that again also repeatable, and it's just how can House be a dick a new way this time, and it's always Lucas is the joke.
And it's a good show. House was great. I loved House, but it does falter from that.
But I never thought about it like that before you actually mentioned it, and then I was like, yeah, actually, that's like that.
And there's some good interweavings, but I think Bones did it a little bit better. We cared. I did at least. I cared a lot more about all the side characters in Bones than I ever did in House, and I liked some of the characters in House.
Hannibal, if you watched that.
I watched a little bit of it, but I mean, I've kind of got burnt out on anything Silence of the Lambs, so.
Yeah, but the Hannibal where is the Mads Mikkelsen is playing Hannibal, right? Mm-hmm. It actually gave me something to think about the way the things were made and how they handle it, right? Mm-hmm. So I would consider that being probably not the best TV show of all time because there's only 3 seasons, but it's up there in some categories, I would say.
I think Bates Motel will be on some people's list.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of shows like that.
True.
Yeah.
The Witcher.
I think it's too early for The Witcher. I think
I know one season, but I would say the season they made was 90% there of what people would have it like.
People
to be,
love
right?
it. They do love it.
Yeah,
it seems like they're loving that show.
It's 90% at the way to be perfect, right? I would say they're still missing the 10% to be the really, really good first season, right?
Yeah, everyone seems to really be on. I think it's kind of in the same category as like American Gods and Westworld. Give it some time.
I tell you what, though, it does make me think like. Have they declared this too early? I mean, technically, they've declared this way too early. We've got so much stuff going on. Have you been watching The Mandalorian?
Oh, Mandalorian, man. See, as much as I'm not going to be that guy, because the season if we're talking one season, Mandalorian's on the fucking list. Mandalorian might be the list. That's how good the first season of the fucking Mandalorian is.
Exactly.
But it's still too early. Same.
Exactly.
Concept,
yeah, the same with Witcher, right? It's one season. You need at least 2 to 3 seasons, right?
Yeah,
and we've got Lord of the Rings coming up as well. They're going to go big for that.
We got an even bigger one coming than that, in my opinion, because
bigger than Lord of the Rings.
And yes, and here's why. I'm American, so if you're a sci-fi person, you already know who I'm going to say just by making the Tolkien reference at all, because we only have one, and it's Wheel of Time. Robert Jordan.
No clue.
If you know, then you know. If you don't, you don't. Robert Jordan is basically considered our Tolkien. Wheel of Time is our Lord of the Rings. It's an incredible series. I'm kind of surprised neither one of you know it. It's pretty goddamn popular. It's coming to TV finally, and it did have one episode of television on Amazon with Billy Zane. I think Billy Zane. He was in Titanic too. I think Billy Zane.
Yeah.
He was part of it, and it was really, really good. But that's coming, and that's going to be something pimp.
You have to remember, I live under a rock, just like Carl said. That's how Vikings wake up. So.
I was waiting for Nixie. I thought Nixie was going to be all over that. You never heard of the Wheel of Time, Nixie, huh?
No.
You gotta read it.
What? We get the pure British classics over here, like the Hobbit.
You gotta read it, Nixie.
We don't need any of your American scum.
If you read Wheel of Time, you are going to be just apologizing to me with bangers and mash and something else British.
What about the Marvel series on Netflix, like Punisher or
It's hard.
Jessica Jones?
It's hard because none of them were outstandingly good for an extended period of time. Jessica Jones' first season was amazing. Personally, I think the first season of what's his name? Oh,
Daredevil or Luke Cage?
Luke Cage. Luke Cage.
Okay.
The first season of Luke Cage was fucking about as good as it gets in Marvel. It was so good, man. It was so different. The world setting was so different from what we're used to seeing. And the soundtrack, I'll put that up there with anything you got in TV. When Luke Cage starts busting people's ass to bring the motherfucking ruckus, my dick grew 2 inches.
Well, I like they weaved all of them into the same, as they should. But I mean, I just like they actually did it.
Yeah, but then it went and sucked. It was just awful.
Yeah. But I mean, I think my favorite of all those is still the Punisher. But that's maybe just because I love the comics, so I might be biased.
Yeah,
it might be controversial to mention, but what do you think of the DC series? Is because someone mentioned Smallville, and I love Smallville.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. If you look at the most recent ones that they've done, I think DC have done TV shows better, but Marvel obviously own the movie game.
Unquestionably.
But Arrow itself sparked this whole thing, and it made Arrow, then Flash came, then all the others.
The Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah. And they're all good. They're all great.
If you capitalize that as one thing, they literally call it the Arrowverse. But then you can't. If you consider it's a good contender. I wouldn't say it's the best though. I still prefer Smallville over any of those shows, to be honest.
I'm with you. You honestly, you couldn't have said it any better. As good as all these new Arrowverse shows are, they kind of need one another, and I don't know if any of them aside from Arrow could stand on their own, including Flash, as much as I love Flash, which I think might be overall the best of the bunch, but Arrow's the one that I think stands the farthest.
Well, Arrow's one. It went down this year.
Yeah, I know, but as a choice, they decided to hang it up.
But Flash is still going. I think Flash is the only one that I watch now. I used to like Legends because it's got its funny moments, but it's grating on me now. It's too much cheese.
Unless you have, what is it called, Teen Titans, I guess.
Haven't been big on that yet. Haven't been big on that.
No, it's not that good. It's okay, but I would love to see if DC did it, and I know they probably won't, but do a Batman series instead, because I think that would attract more.
Well, we've had a lot. I mean, Gotham. For some people, Gotham will be on this list for 21st century TV shows. I mean, a lot of people love that show. But to go to Smallville, and I think we'll wrap it up on this. Ice Cream Birdie, you want to stick around for this? Or you got anything else before I get to this? I think we're going to wrap up.
You can just wrap up. You can just throw me out of order.
Appreciate you, Ice Cream Birdie. You have yourself a good day, my friend.
You too.
Ice Cream Birdie. He came in here and he made us
Cream Birdie, I have to say. I was like, oh, he's not American. I thought you were American. I do apologize.
You thought he was? No, how could you think Ice Cream? First off, we're not exactly sure what Ice Cream Birdie is. We don't know what factory he was built in. We're not 100% sure. We think IBM, but we're not 100% sure. But he's very much a Dane. He is a Dane to the core, that kid right there. You're good guy. We just don't know where he was built. We'll find out one day, and it'll be fantastic. But his voice did something for you, huh? Did it make you tingle somewhere?
I know. I just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting another American to come in, and then suddenly I was like, "Oh, hello. That's not American."
But you're not American at all. Oh, I like your voice. You don't sound like you kicked our ass at all.
No.
All right. Smallville. I think we'll end on this. I love Smallville. I have issues with Smallville. Oh, so many issues with Smallville. Because it's that CW era type show, which is very much more built on the drama of the interpersonal relationships than it really was about the show. And I think that's clever to do. You take Superman, but he's never fucking Superman. You take Superman and you have him not throw a punch for 10 fucking seasons, even against fucking Doomsday.
Yep.
I still have issues with this to this day. And then you get into
it's a hot topic for you.
What's that?
I can see that was a hot press topic for you.
Yeah. You know, seeing him in the fucking uniform in the last 10 seconds of the fucking show also didn't help me very much either. Oh, it was so annoying. It just drove me crazy.
Did you, by any chance, see the crossover in the DC versus the one that they just did?
I did.
How disappointed was you on a scale of 1 to 10? Because Jace was flat out heartbroken.
Yeah, overall, I was pretty fucking disappointed. I've been out of the shows for a while, but I knew, from what I heard, I knew I had to see with all the crossovers that they were going to do. Knowing how far they were going to go into the multiverse and all the different possibilities of which we were going to get to see. And probably the best of the bunch was the Ezra scene, the Ezra and Grant scene. I thought that was fairly good, but it wasn't that good. You know, it wasn't that good. It was okay. It wasn't that good. So I'm kind of with Jason on that.
Do you want to know what my biggest disappointment with that was? It was like Oliver Queen died 6 times. We had to get emotional about it 6 times. When I was after the second, I was like, dude, you're dead. Just fuck off now, would you?
You'd think that they could have fucking hammered it hard, any harder, that they were a little bit resentful that this guy doesn't want to do the show anymore and wants to go.
Oh, yeah.
You want to be a wrestler, you piece of shit. We're going to kill you 6 times on the way out, asshole.
Yeah. That's every single fucking knife that could go in from the studio.
I feel it's so wrong, too, because that show was so good. That show was so good, and he was so good. He was so good.
It was good, but I had issues with it after a couple of seasons back.
Well, as soon as they brought the Oliver and what's her name together, that was, to me, I was started.
Olicity.
Yeah, Olicity. It became troublesome after that. Problematic after that.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything that we miss? Is there anything that we haven't wrapped up enough? Is there anything that you think that is egregiously off the table that you think that we should probably mention before we jump off?
What is your guesstimations on what will change of this list? Like, what do you think is what do you hope will end up on this? Is like, would the Mandalorian end up on there? Would The Witcher, etc., etc.?
I think Witcher, Mandalorian will end up on the list. Ultimately, I think season 4 of Stranger Things will put them on the list because I do think it's going to be very good, or it's going to be bad. Russia is a double-headed coin. I have no fucking idea. You know, could be good, could be not so good. We'll see. I think the big one for me right now is American Gods. I love American Gods. I think it has everything. But Westworld, because now I think we're into the 3rd season. Did the 3rd season already release?
Is it not coming out soon? I haven't watched it.
It's either out now or it's coming out incredibly soon. I can't remember which. But that show has impressed the balls off of me with how good. That first season, you want to talk about shows that could stand on its first goddamn season and have a chance of winning a conversation. Westworld's first season is that good. Anthony Hopkins, Jesus H. Christ, man. Like, for one, I had no idea he was even coming back to TV. And when he comes back with this show, you want to talk about a high-concept show that just finds a way to work? It's Westworld. It's super high concept, but it's still very graspable, even with the huge twists in season 1. And they're not small twists. They're massive twists. And they're great twists. And even the ones that you could think you see coming, they do them in ways that you just couldn't imagine. Season 2 got a little bit more paint by numbers, but still, I'm hopeful going forward.
Okay, then.
Leaping Lizard says, Legends of Tomorrow is the greatest of all Arrowverse shows. Fight me. I think you killed yourself with that comment. I don't need to fight you. I don't need to fight you.
They just always kill off the best characters, so...
Yeah, why is that with that show? They were getting rid of people like gangbusters, and every little side character that was on a show that wasn't going to stick, they were like, just throw them over there, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. They've got rid of Ray. Like, Ray and the woman his wife who plays Damien Dark's daughter. They're leaving.
Wait. They got rid of Ray as in Brandon Routh?
Yeah, Brandon Routh and his wife who plays Damien Dark's daughter. They've both been let go because they were married. They were married in real life, and they both got let go. And I'm like, that's the only 2 characters left I even half cared about.
That really upsets me because I love him. He is.
I love him too. He's amazing.
Aside from that fucking terrible Superman movie, but that wasn't his fault. That was just a bad movie. It was. I don't blame Brandon for that movie. But you know where he redeemed himself for me? Dylan Dog. Dylan.
I was gonna say Vegan Powers.
No, Dylan Dog. What a great show. What a great movie. I love that one. All right. Nixie, thank you so much for being here with me. This is the beginning of something great, the beginning of don't call it a comeback, but we're here, and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, not just pop culture, not just entertainment. We will be talking about YouTube stuff. We will be talking about a lot of things, and you're going to see a lot of this chickie here, Miss Nixie. So get the lover, because she's going to be around.
Female Dave.
Female Dave. Thank you, Bluebies. Have yourself a good day.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Bye. Nixie, can't you see? You come in here and hypnotize me. What do you think about that 70s show? Love that 70s show, but it died. We all know what happened in the last couple seasons of that 70s show. As much as I love that 70s show, and it deserves to be on the list. It's in that thing that we were talking about earlier with the relationships and friends, about how systematic it gets and how, it's situational. Everybody, we see the same situations. I think that 70s show succeeded where a lot of other shows failed because of the time frame, the age of the kids, and just the insanity of which they can go. It really was a great show. But when the wheels fell off, they really, really fell. I'm sorry, man. When you got to fucking start prancing out Wilder fucking Rama as your top draw, there's something wrong, man. I mean, like that fucking I wanted to bash Fez in with a tack hammer. Drove me crazy. But yeah, and I'm never gonna admit to what season I started jerking off to Jackie in, because I'm not admitting to anything that'll make me Jared from Subway. On that note, you guys have yourselves a wonderful day. We didn't get any media shares, so we will not be going over to Twitch immediately, but I got to go run over and talk to a buddy real quick. And after that, I will be headed back here, and I think I will be going to Twitch. I think we will be playing some games. Either Golf with Your Friends, which I've been threatening to play for about 3 or 4 days now, or I think we're going to go to some more 7 Days to Die, because I'm a junkie. I love my 7 days. I love them a lot. Guys, thank you so much for being back here with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We have memberships now. If you want to subscribe and pay me money for your subscription, you can do that here on the YouTubes. And it can trigger some cool things. You can get into a private Discord, a special Discord, Mushpuff Elite only Discord. You can get in there. Also, if we get the level 4 Mushpuff for Life tier, we're going to do a monthly members only live stream and a monthly subscribers only live stream over on Twitch and here on YouTube respectively. And it'll only be you guys, the ones who pay me every month. Only you. And that's about it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, C-Man. Thank you for everybody who supported. I want to make sure I just don't leave it to one name there, because I think we also got a little bit of love from the latest Soldier of the Year. He's not actually, but in my heart, he is Raging Max. Thank you both for your generosity. I appreciate you. Have yourselves a good rest of your evening. Hit the like button on the way out, and we'll see you next time. Because remember, as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. Keep it copious, folks, and see you next time.